Welcome all of you. Thanks for coming. We've all been talking about it before the camera started rolling. The bus lane debate, of course, went down last night. They voted 9-7 in favor of removing the bus lane. My question to you is now, where do we go from here? And has City Council painted itself into a corner? Where do we go from here? What is the next question? Tara?
First off, the bus lane was only supposed to be around for a year. It was supposed to be killed off sometime in October, November.
Even if it worked?
Even if it worked, it was just an experiment. Somehow it dragged on over Christmas.
Would it make sense though to tear it down and then build it back up again?
Scott, remember you're the moderator today. Now, for those that did not listen to his show today, I think he spent the last 3 hours complaining about council's decision. So remember that anytime he says anything today.
All right. Ron, you got to help me here.
I will.
Go for it, Ron.
What's your take on this? Did they paint themselves into a corner?
Absolutely, they did paint themselves in the corner, especially with the province now saying, now the province has started thinking, do you guys want LRT? Like, if a bus lane didn't fit, how is an LRT going to fit along King Street? First and foremost, I wasn't crazy about the bus lane. I avoided the area once it was up and running because of traffic. Once, having said that, traffic was starting to move slowly. I was hoping in last night's council meeting that they were going to keep it but tweak it. It needed some fixing. It just couldn't go on the way it was. So I thought, well, council would give in and say, okay, you got another 6 months. We need to fix this and we want it to work. We want to show the province that Hamilton is a big boy now or a big girl now and say, we want to, see mass transit in Hamilton. But first and foremost, it has to be convenient. You have to connect north and south and east and west. You just can't have an east-west corridor running with a transit system. It's got to be convenient for the whole city. Then you will find the people up in Ward 6 or Ward 7 or Ward 8 saying, no, okay, now I can get on an LRT up on the mountain and get downtown and then connect and go east to McMaster. Then you got it.
Alex, what are your thoughts? If you can't manage a bus lane, can you manage BRT and LRT?
Oh, that sounds like an NDP line. I have to say, just in regards to...
I'm getting them from both sides.
Just in regards, I do want to say, first off, thank you so much to the city councillors that supported this last night. I think that you had vision, and that's what we need right now. I think that so many of the councillors that voted against it, you were taking a very colloquial look at this. I think that so many of our councillors act within their own fiefdoms.
Oh, yeah.
There were problems.
Sure, but you know what? Tweak it. I think that this was a project that could bring in all kinds of money to our city. Sure, it may not have been flowing directly through your ward specifically, but it was going to bring in investment into our city. Research showed it. We should have been behind it. I think that we need a plan for the whole city, one that's looking at the future, one that's about transit. I got to tell you, I presented to the Minister of Finance this week on his pre-budget consultations, and I heard from other mayors talking about how they wanted transit investment in their city. If we don't go for it, we're going to lose it.
I'm going to just jump in one last time.
I'm not saying
everyone,
anything.
everyone wants it, but the money
Where's
isn't
the money?
there.
Yeah.
The money will not be there.
Wait a sec, we're talking about LRT here.
No.
The issue is a bus lane.
But remember, the bus lane was always going to be a precursor to some sort of
10
LRT,
years down the road.
BRT. Sure, but you have to start with the one thing. Now, I
So
think
what
that
happens now?
we were putting the cart before the horse here. In this respect, sure, give them a dedicated lane, but that wasn't fixing the problems that people had with transit to begin with. Put more buses on routes that have lots of
And
people.
that's part of
I remember
tweaking.
when I was going to
the whole
McMaster,
system.
trying to get a bus from McMaster close to Dundurr and Lock Street, going eastbound. You'd have to wait 3, 4, 5 buses because they'd be sandwiched.
And that's a big problem.
So why? That's the reason
But
that I wasn't taking the bus.
You're hitting on, and I think
I couldn't get on it.
I think Matt Green said this accurately. They hadn't consulted the riders. You look at other cities. You look at Calgary. They actually have a public input bus that comes along every now and then.
They're going to create
you get
a
free ride.
They're going to create a union for the riders.
Well, you've got John
exchanges,
Tory. You've got John Tory, and I like his idea of giving free ridership to kids.
That's a great idea.
In Toronto, because it encourages parents to take their kids on the bus. It gets them into the groove, and then they remember it and they continue on as adults.
But you have to build the system in the first place. You're not going to take the bus if it's completely completely frustrated.
No, and
Has to be
I think that
convenient.
the bus only lane, that was probably 3 or 4 steps into the future from what they should have been doing now.
I just think, you know, they're going to go away, they're going to debate it. You know, they're taking down all the signage now for what? Hopefully to put it back up. I think that.
And everyone should remember, City Council has said for us not to use the lane because it still hasn't been taken down, but the police say they're not going to enforce it. So
they weren't enforcing
take that
it.
as
I bet
They
you the
haven't been
cyclists will
enforcing
take
for
it
a
over.
while.
Where do we do next? Where does this go from here? What happens next?
Where do we go from here? We have to follow the plan. Follow the.
There is no more plan.
There has to be
The
a
plan's
plan
dead, Ron.
put in place. It's not dead because you could bring it back. The transit plan could be brought back and tweaked. It has to be done because otherwise we've had plans years ago. I remember they were going to run down an LRT, an elevated LRT down York Boulevard, and it was going to go over the cemetery, I believe. And one councillor at the time said, "Oh no, I don't want any trains going over the cemetery because there are people there, and you know, because you're going to disturb them." But so that was next. And this was the province at the time, and it was a conservative province of Davis, I believe, who said, we're going to pay for the whole thing. Do you want it or not? This was an experimental,
Sure.
and, they said,
council
we
said no. But here, they're no longer suggesting they're going to pay for it all. They're suggesting that the municipalities will have to pay about 1/3 of it, at least.
But York Boulevard
and
is a
it's not
perfect
gonna
example.
happen.
You got that huge boulevard in the center. You could run an elevated system there and not disrupt traffic below at all.
Has this divided the city again? Because, you know, look where we are. We have a divided city council, split pretty much even. We've got a divided city, upper and lower. This just reeks of the stadium debate to me. It's the stadium debate all over again.
I don't think that Hamiltonians are fierce and upset on either sides of the fence. I think that what they really want is a council that's going to
The
take
pro
some
bus
leadership.
lane are the pro bus
some
lane people
leadership.
are upset,
I think,
and they're vowing to get back. They're vowing to seek revenge on this council.
All right, let's move on. Welfare woes, funding frustrations. We all know the city has these. We're feeling strains on multiple fronts, cutting 5 homeless programs.